Hello, this is Dr. Victor Cuevas. In Waterbury, your vote matters more than ever. I created this series to help you understand your voting rights and how to use them. Whether you vote early, by mail, or on election day, you deserve to know every option available to you. Together, we can make sure every citizen is informed, empowered, and ready to make their voice heard this election season.
I have been involved in politics for some time now, and generally speaking, everybody votes across party lines, and that's fine. But again, I'm here tonight to educate you, to really look at your values, look at what you believe in, look at what's going on in your city, look at your taxes, look at the roads, look at the infrastructure, look at the education system, look at the crime level, look what's going on, look at your leaders. Vet the department heads, see their qualifications. Is this really working? I had the opportunity this weekend to do some canvassing with some candidates, and I had some very interesting conversations with folks about, the taxes, right? I knocked on a gentleman, nice guy, he was a Democrat, and I asked him, can we get his support for Role B and the candidates in the first district? And he indicated to me he was a Democrat. I said, I know you're a Democrat, but I'm willing to knock on your door so you can hear our opinion and hear our strategy and our leadership ideology and what we believe works for the common folk, which, middle-class people, hardworking people, people on fixed incomes, things of that nature, which Waterbury is a very large population of middle-class folks, hardworking folks. This individual said to me, well, I know, for the sake of anonymity, I won't mention names, but this individual mentioned, well, I know this individual. And I'm like, that's fine. You're friends with that individual. I respect it. And sometimes, I want you to know that when I had this conversation, I made something clear to this person. I know a lot of people. And if you're running for political office, and I know that you voted to raise my taxes, I am going to be hard-pressed, whether you're a friend, an associate, a family member, to vote for you again. Because I have to tell you that with family members, with everything we do in our lives, we agree to disagree. But there's some stuff that you got to draw the line in the sand, guys. And in this race, I ask you and I beg you to do your research. Understand that you do not have to just vote party line. I have knocked on so many doors over my career. I have spoken to over 100 people this weekend and knocking on doors. And, I hear people say, well, I'm a Democrat. I usually vote Democrat. And I have to tell you, a lot of those Democrats were very happy that I knocked on their door. I gave them an education of their lifetime. They're actually going to vote Role B and support the candidates in District 1. Because I gave them, in particular, examples. I explained to them with validity about how their taxes were raised, why they were raised. And the consensus was, after our conversation, is that, wow, why would you raise taxes when there really wasn't a need? And then if you did raise taxes, what was the money spent on? Like some of the spending that went on after the budget had passed, and the new jobs that were created, the extensions of the mayor's office and things of that nature, are these agencies and additional jobs, are they really needed? Are they specifically driven to problem solve some of the issues we have? Or they're just jobs that were kind of created to kind of elevate the seat of the mayor and kind of quietly advertise and do public outreach for the mayor, so he would do less, but more people would do more for him, but keep him in the vision of the community to see, hey, I'm from the mayor's office, I'm doing this. That's all part of the game, and that's part of the strategy. You have to do public outreach. But when you have several office duplicating services, that becomes strategically a nightmare financially, because now we're paying salaries and people in different departments doing duplicating services, and that's bad business. You can't do that kind of stuff. It hurts ultimately the taxpayer. So I ask you to, really ask really good questions, understand the voting process, understand the person you're voting for, what their values are, what their intentions are. Dig deep, look into who you're voting for, what they stand for. Just don't vote party line. For me, I have to tell you that I served as a legislator for about 6 years for the state of Connecticut, and I was a Democrat. And I grew up a Democrat because that's what we were taught growing up in a poor home, is that poor people are Democrat and rich people are Republicans. And that is a complete fallacy. Um, and not until I became educated and I learned the process and I understood how government works, I knew there was good democratic values and good democratic ideas, and I knew there was good Republican values and good Republican ideas, but I also learned that there were some bad ideas on both sides.